Thanks very much, Chris. Yep, DD2 time, the final of the day here at Salisbury in France, and the cart's already on their way for the first of two formation laps. It's going to be the poleman French Kanskar, who's done the job so far, pre-final win, and he now starts the final from pole as well. Anthony Abbas, the Frenchman, went very well earlier. He's been going very well this weekend. He starts alongside on the front row. Row 2 is then Mats van der Brand and Kevin Ludi. Row 3, the likes of Rupi Markkanen and Enrique Baptista. Back on row 4 is Marcel Schirmer and Philippus Calasius, and row 5 has Barry Pullinger, double victor yesterday in the heats, and Alexis Corso alongside. Row 6 we then have Arnold Kozlinski and Erasmus Markkanen. Row 7 is Paolo De Conto and Enrique Gruber. Back on row 8 is Lorenzo Van Riet and Philip Siwa. Row 9 sees the first of our Masters runners, which is Iger Mukin and Konstantin Scholl alongside. Back on row 10, Oriol Dalmo and Maxi Fleischmann. Row 11 outside the top 20 for Martins Lapins and Luca Kamali. Row 12, Alessio Corto and Fabian Lanz. Row 13 is Demetrius Vasilias and Mark Lupfer. Row 14, Sasha Pia-Haido and Max Hoffer. And row 15, the next of our Masters, way down compared to Iger Mukin, is the likes of Kavazi Tamakazi and Mark Bateau. Row 16 is Steve Bull and another Masters runner, Giza Foda. And right towards the back, drama in the first of the races today for pre-final runner Tamsin Germain, a non-finish, and alongside her, row 17, is going to be Harold Gar-Cacklis. So that's the field, 34 starters for DD2, just like seniors, just like the juniors as well, and are preparing themselves for a longer race also, 16 laps in prospect. The carts with the final preparations, the weave in there, quite a bit being done by French Kanskar, and let's see what he can do in this one, preparing himself for a battle galore up front. Anthony Abbas, as we've said already this weekend, has been stunning with his driving on home turf. Can he pick up the final win of the weekend? We're going to watch out for him from the outside of the front row. And as we said, Mats van der Brand, normally used to rally driving, but he's in a kart for this weekend and he's really impressed us. He's got Kevin Ludi alongside. Both of those ones to watch out for as the grid now starts to assemble down onto the final corner. We're ready to go for DD2 here at Salisbury in France. Here's Chris Hartley for the start.
Thanks very much indeed, Matt. Right, final race of the day. The DD2 pre-final was awesome, so I'm looking forward to this one. French Kanskar on pole, leading man at the Winter Cup. What can he do here? Back on form. Great to see. The Hungarian leads the race. No, they don't get underway just yet, though. Almost there. I thought we were going to let it go, but they're being sent back around. They weren't quite bunched up nicely enough, neatly enough, so they are sent back around. One more formation lap. So having got the adrenaline right up, they're now got to settle themselves down and remain focused here. It won't take long to get any heat in the Mojo tyres, that's for sure. But I'll keep the speed up, keep the heat in the tyres and the brakes nonetheless. In terms of the Masters, Igor Mukin, the Russian driver, he's having a fabulous weekend so far. 17th place, holding his own with some of the youngsters and well clear of anybody else in Masters. There are only 4 Masters that got through to the finals, to the point scoring races. The others are toward the back. So you've got in 29th Kawazi Tamakozu, alongside in 30th Mark Bateau. Just behind them 32nd is Geza Fodor, and Tamsin Germain never got to the end of lap number 1, I'm afraid, in the pre-final. There was a bit of rough and tumble. Something obviously was dislodged from the kart and she wasn't able to get going again, so she's going to be dead last, but still got a chance of a podium here because she's 4th of the Masters drivers, but she's not that far behind Fodor, Bateau and Tomakozo. So it's only Mukin, really, that's out of reach, potentially. And even he could be caught. So it's all still to play for here in Masters. But at the front of the field, it should be a lightning race, this, between Abbas and Kanskar. Kanskar went off like a steam train at the start of the first race, but they all caught him up. And Abbas was right with him. So they're bunched together. Mats van der Brand just as quick. Kevin Ludi looking strong in 4th as well. Rupa Markkanen was very quick towards the end of the race in the pre-final as well. This time it is go. The race gets underway. French Kanskar with a perfect start. And Mats van der Brand has slotted into 2nd place. Anthony Abbas 3rd. Rupa Markkanen tucks in behind in 4th place. Kevin Ludi is 5th. Enrique Baptista slots into 6th place at the start of this race. Then I think it's Marcel Schirmer next up, who's got ahead of Philippos Kalesis. So everybody's settling in there. Everybody, for the first time, I think, of the whole day, has got through the first 2 or 3 turns. So no crashes, nobody wheel banging, nobody in the gravel. They've all sensibly made their way through. A little bit more perhaps maturity, calmness about the driving of the DD2 drivers at times, and they have kept it sensible at the start of what is a relatively long race, 16 laps, so there's plenty of time for those who need to march forwards. But at the head of the field, French Canchar leading, Mats van den Brand having a go to see if he can get himself on the podium, maybe onto the top step here. Anthony Abbas in third place, having slipped back a little bit from them, but he's still only about half a second back as they come through out of turn 11 to start a new lap. And Kevin Ludi in fourth place will be utterly determined to get onto the podium. He had the pace for a podium at Campios at the Winter Cup. Things went against him, but he has looked very quick this year, and he is going to get his head down here. So the top four make their way through. Rupert Markkanen with that good start as well initially, but he lost a couple of places later on in the lap. So the Finnish driver on the fringe of the top six.
So the leaders off the straight for a second time. This one with the build-up now starting to begin for the leaders. The man out front doing the job at the minute, which is French Canchar, holding on to that lead with Mats van der Brand pushing as hard as ever to keep with him first and second. Just slightly now pulling away from the man in third, which is Anthony Abbas. Down there in fourth, still Kevin Ludi. Those two run together as well up towards the chicane for the second time. Then there in fifth place on his own is Henrik Baptista. But of course, they'll all start to bunch up on the rakes through the hairpins now, through 10 on towards 11, the right-hander. They're all playing it calmly at the minute. I'm sure, again, the storm will come later on in this race as they vie for some higher positions. But the man out front, winner so far this weekend on multiple occasions, French Canchar, now heads up towards the second corner. Again, they all concertina back together. Second place man sits there, Mats van der Brand. Can he get the win in this final? He's looking healthy for it at the minute. Just 0.2 of a second back from our leader as they start the third lap of the race. Down the back straight for another time. Mats van der Brand now just slightly picking up a toe there. Can he make a move at turn 5? Not really. Thinks about it. The leader, French Canchar, just runs wide into the corner, but he's got it covered for the time being. So it's good news for him. Third and fourth again bunched together as they catch the top two here. So Anthony Abbas working with Kevin Ludi to try and put as much pressure on as possible. And there's no real breaks in the train here. They all go down the field. Henrik Baptista still 5th. Marcel Schirmer 6th. Felipe Calasius is 7th. And then the two Markkanens back-to-back in 8th and 9th places, with down there just inside the top 10 is going to be the kart, which is of Paolo De Conto.
Martins Lepans has ground to a halt and has pulled off the circuit just to the side of the back straight, so he's out of the race. In Masters, Igor Mukin has had terrible trouble at the start of the race and he's slipped back several places to outside the top 20. More of that soon because there's a change of lead here. Mats van der Brand down the inside of French Canchar. He's taken with him Anthony Abbas. And so down to third place, the former race leader, down to fourth, because Kevin Ludi fires one up the inside, and Ludi goes into the top 3 with a great move at turn 4. So down to fourth place now for French Canchar. Can he fight back, having been the top man all weekend so far? I was about to tell you about the Masters. Igor Mukin, long the way clear of everybody else in Masters, but he slipped back about 5 or 6 places on the first 2 laps. And Kawasi Tamakozu has had a terrific start, made lots of progress. He got one off there, has just stuck on the track. Is that 6.42 or 6.62? God, Enets, is it? Markkanen, 6.62, we think it is. So Erasmus Markkanen, who span and then had to wait for them all to come through. So yeah, in Masters, Tomokazu has come through to 20th place now from 29th and leads Masters. Mukin second, and then Fodor and Jermaine were battling over third in the class. Here comes Anthony Abbas down the inside and into the lead of the race at turn 2. So he leads now. We're going to have a French victory on home soil. Kevin Ludi with another cheeky move at turn 4. This time it's for second place. It works again. Mats van den Brand, the Dutch driver, down to third position. French Canchar is still hovering there in fourth place. Still very much a part of this race, with Marcel Schirmer looking strong as well at the tail end of that group in 5th.
Yep, those 5 are now just broken away from the rest of the pack. So they're on their way now, fighting for the lead as they head through the right-hander at turn number 7. And can they hold on for it for the time being? It's the man out front, Anthony Abbas, that's been, as we said, very strong so far across the course of the 2 days. He leads now Kevin Ludi, but he's picked up a place after place, lap on lap here. So can he get another one at the start of the next one we're about to begin here through the right-hander at turn 11? And as they do so, they're going to pick up and build the speed. At the back of that, we said as well, kart number 619, which is doing a fantastic job. Marcel Schirmer to keep with the top 4. Here comes French Canchar for third place down the inside of Mats van der Brand. He now moves himself back onto the podium and he holds the guys up behind. We've got yellow flags through turn 3, just a couple of karts off there.
Yeah, 647, which is former world champion Arno Kozlinski, and 648, the other Markkanen twin, Rupert Markkanen, who's gone really well this weekend. So those two off on the exit to turn 4. and out of the race, I'm afraid. So two very strong drivers there who won't pick up too many points in this race. Anthony Abbas, though, leading the way. Didn't get on the podium at this event last year. He's looking good for it now, though. But Kevin Ludi up to second. Van den Brand in that mix as well in third place. It's not okay, fourth rather, because Kanchar got through, didn't he? Mats van der Brand fourth. And then right behind them in fifth place, Marcel Schirmer driving very strongly here. Bit of a gap back then to Philippos Kalesis in sixth. Philippos got one of his best results last season as well. He finished in the top 6 at this circuit. So, Anthony Abbas leading the way here in France. You'll know the track well. We've got one off on the grass here, just about to rejoin the circuit at turn number 10. That's number 618, Philippe Siwa, the Swiss driver who's been in strife. But at the head of the field, they make their way onto the back straight now. Anthony Abbas ducks his head down, tries to make himself a little bit more aerodynamic. Kevin Ludi still homing in, though, still picking up that slipstream, which is very effective, isn't it, Matt? Down the back straight, you can see the cart behind getting sucked in, towed along, and pulled ever closer as they head down towards the braking zone.
Yeah, and it's been added to this year as well, of course, with the demise of the chicane. So it's a run through turn 4, much longer straight now. And if you get yourselves onto that straight in good time, you can really pick up a couple of places if you're within that toe. So that's what they're all trying to do, tuck their heads down and get the best drag down towards turn 5. And a move there, down the inside goes Marcel Schirmer, getting ahead there of Mats van der Brand. So this race is turning in the opposite direction for Mats. He was leading early on, but now he's down to 5th place, and with work to do, he's dropping further and further down the field here. He should be safe in 5th place for the time being, but the rest of the pack are not too far away. Felipe Scalazia sits there in 6th place, 7th place for Enrique Baptista, and 8th place still there as well, Paolo De Conto. So watch out for all of those 3 cars behind. Very shortly could well be an 8-way train for the lead, but the man who still is up front, Anthony Abbas, with a 0.2 of a second margin over the rest. But Kevin Ludi again looks for a move off the straight down at turn 5, not quite working that time, but it's getting closer and closer, and the man in third wants the lead of the race back, French Kanskar, who lost it a few laps ago. Can he do a few moves like was done on him down at turn 2 before too much longer? Just under now, 9 laps to go.
Tomokazu still leads the Masters category, but Tamsin Germain has just got herself up to 2nd in class, moving ahead of Igor Mukin. So from the back of the grid, she's up to 22nd place overall. She looks strong here this weekend. And can she even get a win out of this? There's still quite a long way to go. 8 laps to go. The leaders cross the line into turn 1. It's becoming a bit of a 3-way fight this now. And here comes Ferenc Kanchar, pulls out of the slipstream, darts down the inside, and sticks the move to 2nd place. Kevin Ludi has to give way. So Ludi down to 3rd place here. That will almost bring 4th and 5th back onto their case as well. Schirmer and Van den Brand. So Marcel Schirmer in 4th place, within a couple of lengths of them now. Kevin Ludi's very quick going down that back straight. Very good on the brakes once again from Kevin into turn 5 rather, but he can't quite find the advantage. So Frank Kanchar defends the position that he's just gained. He's still 2nd. Anthony Abbas will have a little bit more advantage at the end of this lap because of the fighting that's been going on behind him. But he's still within their range, still within their sight. Here comes Kevin again. He wants that 2nd place back, and more importantly, he doesn't want the leader to get away, so he's pushing hard. The Hungarian, though, is going to be able to hang on to it, at least for this lap. But Kevin Ludi is winding up a move here now, closing in through turn 1. Is there going to be a chance going into turn 2? Kanchar carries the speed beautifully, runs all the way over the curbs on the exit of turn 1, and he had to be flat out there to make sure that Kevin couldn't come through. But it's going to be bunched up pretty soon, isn't it? Because they're almost now, Matt, 6 of them together.
Yep, it's the man at the back, Felipe Scalazia, who's getting closer and closer. Change for 7th place as well, because Paolo De Conto has just got past Enrique Baptista. So those two have switched around. Just going through the picture there at turn number 5. Leaders on their way out of turn number 6, down towards the 7th, the right-hander at the minute. And now just breathing a sigh of relief up front is Anthony Abbas. He's gradually putting a few more karts between himself and Ferenc Kanskar in 2nd place. They charge to the right and left flick at the chicane once more, and we've still got plenty of laps to go. It's going to be 6 to go at the end of this one. 3rd place man still Kevin Ludi, 4th place Marcel Schirmer, and 5th place that going through in towards the right hand of the final corner at turn number 11 at the minute is Mats van der Brand. Has he got a chance of getting himself back on the podium? Well, time is ticking away, and the guys up front are doing a much better job at the minute. So Mats needs to act fast here if he wants to do anything about Marcel Schirmer and the man up the road, Kevin Ludi. And look who's near enough there with them now, Felipe Scalazia. So a couple more corners and a few more holds up in front. He could be with them.
Well, nobody's interested in finishing fourth, are they? They all want to get on that podium, and they'll take the opportunity should it arise. But there are 5 of them, and there are only 3 places on the podium. It's going to be a real dogfight, this, in the closing stages of the race. Good job being done at the moment by Harold Garkaklis, who's come from stone last from 34th, and he's up to 18th place now, so he's making good progress, and still some opportunities to get a bit further up the order for the Latvian. But the leaders coming to turn 10 now. Anthony Abbas has led for a while now, but he's never really been able to pull clear. Frank Kanchar, of course, was on pole position, won the pre-final. Whichever of them wins this race, if it's one of them, he's going to end up as the points leader. Going into the second round of the championship, Kevin Ludi and Marcel Schirmer and Mats van den Brand, though, are right up there with them. Into turn 2 they go. Ala de Conte, having got past Enrique Baptista in that battle for 7th place, hasn't really been able to shake off the Portuguese driver. So Anthony Abbas leads by 0.3 seconds, but the gap's going to come down, I think, now in the next lap or two. And as we go into the final 5 laps of this race now, this is where I think, Matt, it's all about to spark off.
Yeah, just like we saw in the seniors, they're all starting to wind themselves now into the finishing positions, the best places they need to be, and the attacks they need to make as well. They've been following the karts ahead for quite a few laps. They'll know their weaknesses, they'll know the strengths as well of the driver in front, and as soon as they're ready to pounce, they'll absolutely go for it. So there'll be no hanging around. If you're confident of a move, you've got to get it done as soon as possible. So French Kanskar will be the first man to try and do something about the race leader at the minute, Anthony Abbas, who brings his way through the final corner. 4 laps now to go as they head in towards turn 1. Still a 6-way train here for the lead of the race. Nothing really happening there at the minute. Still close for 7th though, with Paolo de Conto and the man behind him, which is Enrique Baptista. And then further back as well, look out for the guys who are trying to catch up as well in the mix, just to hold themselves inside the top 10, which Barry Pullinger has just managed to do as well. So 10th place for him. Can he get any higher? He had a good Saturday, not such a good Sunday at the minute, but it's not just the guys at the front to look out for. There's the Masters class as well, which is running very nicely. Yeah,
Tamakazo is in control of that one at the moment. Tamsin Germain is currently in 21st place. She's 2nd in the class. She's behind the German driver, Sasha Peo-Heider, and she's trying desperately to get past the German, because the longer she sat behind him, the more eager Mukin is able to come back at her. So well worth keeping an eye on the battle for 2nd place in the Masters category. Feels a bit like the calm before the storm in terms of the battle at the head of the field. They've sort of followed each other around on that lap. But you just sense that they are not going to finish in exactly this order, not without somebody having a go to try and gain a place, particularly in and around 3rd position. So there are now less than 3 laps to go in the race. Anthony Abbas left at turn 3, right at turn 4, onto the back straight once again. He's a real attacking driver, but when he needs to be, he's nice and smooth behind the wheel, and he's driving very gracefully indeed, the Frenchman, looking for a famous victory here and to get his campaign off to the best possible start, having finished 6th overall in last year's championship. So he has still got this relatively calm gap of 0.4 of a second now. Kanchar, he's still 2nd. Ludi is in 3rd. Schirmer and Van den Brand in that group, with Kalesis now almost onto the tail of the group in 6th.
Yeah, it's not the biggest gap up front, but it will do for the time being for Anthony Abbas, just working his way again to the final corner. And it's probably French Kanskar who's got to be the most worried here, because he's in the prime position to be attacked by those behind. 2nd place, before too much longer, you could find yourself off the podium with one move being made. Everyone else then tries to dive through and get the job done as well. So French Kanskar sits there 2nd for the time being. Kevin Ludi is 3rd. Marcel Schirmer as well, right on the tail in 4th place. And 5th place is going to be Mats van der Brand. So can Mats find himself on the podium once more? It's looking unlikely at the minute, unless he can get a good tow down this back straight in towards turn 5. Again, the noses of the carts just jink out to try and look down the inside line, but nothing really showing from any of these 6 carts at the minute. Still behind Paolo de Conto and Enrique Baptista, and in fact Paolo's just been given a 5-second penalty for a few warnings out there on track. So Paolo now will in fact fall behind Enrique Baptista when the checkered flag comes out, which is not too far away. We are coming up to the last lap board, which is about to be prepared down on the gantry here. So Anthony Abbas, can he hold this half-a-second lead he has at the minute over the rest of the field? Well, he's got one more tour of the Salisbury circuit to go, as now Anthony Abbas goes on to the last lap of the race.
Tamsin Germain has got past Sasha Pio-Hyder, and there was a terrific move into turn 10 on the last lap from her pursuer, Igor Mukin, who got past the German as well, knowing that he couldn't let Germain get away. So still the battle is on for second in the class. Tomokazu continues, the Japanese driver, to lead the Masters category. But for the final time of the weekend, Anthony Abbas heads down the back straight, and he turns right now into turn 5 as the race leader. There's the group just behind. Second place, maybe just edging away now as well. Frank Canchar giving himself a bit of breathing space. So who's going to get the last place on the podium is the question. At the moment, it is Kevin Ludi hanging on to the place there with the largely blue race suit. Can he get it, or is Marcel Schirmer going to steal it at the death here? Because there's only 2 more corners to go now. Through the chicane they head towards turn 10 now, through the left-hander. Anthony Abbas is going to win this one. Canchar second, and it's looking more like Kevin Ludi third. And look at the inside for 5th there from Kalesis, but he doesn't get through. He gets through now on the exit, but the win goes to Anthony Abbas. He is victorious here in France. What a drive that was from Anthony. He was very measured in his performance in the pre-final. He didn't take too many risks at the end of the race, where he looked like he might have been a bit quicker than French Canchar. He's waited his turn, and he's got the win where it matters in the final. He'll pick up the silverware. He'll pick up the points lead as well, I reckon. So Anthony Abbas wins by 0.8 of a second. The cool Frenchman takes a long overdue victory in the Euro Challenge. Frank Canchar second, Kevin Ludi third place. So we're really happy with that. Great to see Kevin on the podium. With Marcel Schirmer also having an excellent weekend. He's driven really well there to take 4th place. Philippos Kalesis, as I described, with a really good move at the last corner to get 5th place from Mats van den Brand. He had a look at the inside going into the corner. He backed off out of the move, but Mats was sort of second guessed. He went a little bit wide through the corner, and Kalesis just buried it, got up the inside and passed him going over the start-finish line. So 7th place went to Enrique Batista. Of course, just ahead of him on the track was Paolo Di Conto, but he's been given that 5-second penalty, as Matt said, so drops out of the top 10. Lorenzo Van Riet, 8th. Paolo Di Conto, 9th. And then 10th place for Barry Pullinger. There is the Masters winner, Kawazi Tomokazu. Really good drive from him. Igor Mukin got past Tamsin Germain right at the end of the race, so that move on Sasha Pio-Hyder obviously kept him in the running, and he was able then to find a way past the British driver. She still gets on the podium though, and still picks up some good points. 3rd place for her. Fabian Lenz, the other female racer there, in 25th place for Brand Racing. Geza Fodor was in the top 3 for a while, but has to settle for 4th place in the Masters. Meanwhile, Marc Berthaud, after a great run of the Winter Cup, well, he picked up some good points. Not all the Masters made it through to the final, but he doesn't get onto the podium on this occasion. For what it's worth, Arnaud Kozlinski got the fastest lap of the race. There are the points then in the championship. By 2 points, Anthony Abbas leads for Sodi Kart at the end of round 1. 88 points for him, 86 points for Frank Canchar. For Birolart KMS, Kevin Ludi for Spirit Racing is 3rd in the championship on 81 points. Mats van den Brand for VPDR, 4th on 79. Marcel Schirmer for RS Competition has 77 points in 5th place. And Philippos Kalesis is in 6th place on 75 points for Team Flandria Kart. Same points as Enrique Batista. So those are the top 15 in the DD2 championship at the end of what's been a really entertaining first round here at